Hello and welcome to Rocking Horse Talk with me, David Kiss. Today I thought we'd talk about this horse, which we've attributed to Brassington and Cooke. The horse we have here is in original condition. We haven't done anything to it at all. I think we gave the stand a bit of a polish up because that was looking a bit dowdy. So it gives us quite a good insight as to what might have been produced by the company. This actual horse, I acquired it from Manchester. So that's obviously one thing that leads us to add to the fact that it's come from Brassington and Cooke. They were based in Manchester and the family had owned it since new, apparently. The stand of this horse is all made out of oak, which does seem a little extravagant in as much as the actual horse is really quite plain, but perhaps that was just due to what was available at the time. Some items on the stand are of note, typically things like where the swing and the iron comes out of the runner. The washers are peened on, which alleviates the need for putting split pins in it. But they're quite difficult things quite difficult to carry out that operation. But obviously they were geared up to do this. The brackets on the top of the stand are really very rudimentary, basically two strips of metal, just bent like little humpback bridges. So they're not what we would call over-engineered by any stretch of the imagination. They just do enough to make the horse work. The posts are turned on Brassington and Cooke horses and typically follow a similar pattern to this, although these posts seem to be very slender on this particular horse. While we're here, we can also look at the fact that the horse doesn't have any hoof notches, so the bolt is all that holds it to the stand. So if the horse doesn't actually stand on the rail, it's bolted to it, which is never the best way of doing something, but obviously a much quicker way of production within the factory. I think most of the tack that's on this horse and what's left of its hair is original to the horse, so this is quite unusual. The bridle round here, and it seems to be made out of rexine, which is obviously a cheaper choice of materials. It does have one small decorative nail up by its bridle, but apart from that, what remains is quite plain. The horse also has some rather nicely coloured glass eyes. I think the colour has actually been fired onto the back of these eyes, so unlike other glass eyes that were crystal, would have been painted on the back, the colour's on them so it would never sort of come away from the back of the eye. And I have noticed this on other models attributed to Brassington and Cooke. Having said that, I mean, that's quite a detailed item. There are some details like the ears and the nostrils. They're not even hollowed out, which seems a little odd when in other areas of the horse quite a lot of time is being spent on it. But who's to say what was going on at a specific time in the factory? I haven't really mentioned the date of this horse either. I can't actually be sure, but my gut feeling says around sort of 1915ish, somewhere around there. Might be a bit earlier. I've mentioned before, it's not just the look of the horse that's important, but also the rock of the horse. Now, I've just been looking at this horse and it's not actually that clever, because if you rock the horse forward, when the rear swinging iron is in line with the runner, the front swinging iron is pushed forwards, so it gives the back of a horse a tendency to kick up in the air, which could always catch out the slightly unaware rider. But I suppose that all adds to its quirkiness and its charm somehow. Brassington and Cooke was set up about 1875. They were based in Manchester and seemed to be quite a big concern by all accounts. They, in a 1915 advert, they advertised the fact that they had over 100 different toys for sale, and we can see in the advert a little illustration of a swing stand rocking horse, amongst other things. They think they were more interested, or earlier on in their production, were more organised at producing perambulators and the like. They also appeared in trade fairs. We've got a picture here of a British Industry Fair stand taken in 1915. I note that they shared the stand with some other manufacturers from the area, but At least we have a swing stand horse in the centre of their display, and also another little wheeled horse just to the left as well. So that's quite a nice insight as to what would have been available at that sort of time. I don't think Brassington and Cooke actually retailed their horses. I think most of them were wholesaled through department stores. There was one of note in Manchester, Bars, which was based in Deansgate, Manchester, and their children's department was referred to as a children's paradise. Well, I think that'll do for us today on the little Brassington and Cooke horse. If you like the video, please feel free to like and subscribe. Thanks very much. Bye bye for now.